You know, like so many people here on the Suncoast, my guest today is a transplant from New York. Syracuse, to be exact, and after spending 14 years as an actor in New York and touring with Broadway shows, he shifted gears and went to the small screen. The very small screen of web marketing and entertainment. Then, one day, he got his big break to appear on a bigger screen. Television. And that's where we find him today as the returning co-host of ABC7's Suncoast View, Joey Panek. How are you?
Oh, I'm good. It's funny hearing it laid out like that. You know, anybody's life laid out like, oh, I did that, all right.
Yeah. So how's it going for you? Thank you. I left the station just so you could come back.
I know. We you know, when you look at like those like TV shows or something where like there was a different Darren on Bewitched or something. Yes. Although you know what, after you left, that position does not exist anymore. So I'm back in a temporary part-time capacity filling in as a co-host, which is kind of how I first started with that show.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a nice full circle.
And I have very fond memories, but I have to say that doing Suncoast People gives me a lot more latitude, especially with time, because you're really constricted on that show.
That was the hardest part of a morning show is to find, you know, that sweet spot of hey, can we talk about this very, very big issue that's going on for everyone that's important, which is why we booked you, and can we do it in 3 minutes? You know, I feel like most people think that it's harder to stretch a conversation, which it is, but not once you get into that sweet spot. So yeah.
Well, I tend to speak slowly anyway, so I can make a 10-minute segment, 30 minutes.
Perfect.
But in any case, but you started out as an actor.
Yes. Yeah. I grew up in Syracuse, like you said, and doing community theater since I was a little kid. It was my passion. It was like all my brothers played sports and were interested in other things, but like theater was my thing. And I've always loved it and always did it. And and went right into it after school.
What was your first big role?
Okay, this is crazy. I was obsessed with the musical Peter Pan. I wasn't a weird kid at all. Yeah, obsessed.
Tinkerbell. You were Tinkerbell?
Oh, well, I was a little too large to be Tinkerbell because I was a hefty kid. So I was obsessed with the show, and then a local community theater was doing it. And I was like, this is perfect. And I went and I got cast as Michael, the youngest of the three.
Yeah.
But I was a bigger kid. So
what, you were like 22, 23?
No, like I was a heavier kid.
Oh,
like
okay.
I enjoyed indulging in a lot of food as a kid, so I was about as wide as I was tall. And
I know the feeling.
Well, you know, all right, so when you do Peter Pan and the kids fly, and we wear harnesses underneath our costume, so that when the time comes, we sneak to the window, and then they have the wire, and they hook you up. And the harness, normally, like, the kid that plays Michael is small enough that he shares it with like another kid in the second act, but I had to share it with like one of the adults in the second act. But it was an amazing thrill, and it just kind of kicked off this love for performing.
Have you done Peter Pan since?
No, actually. No, because I think I aged out of all the roles. I mean, I might have a Captain Hook in me.
I've always wanted to play the role of Nana.
Oh, yes, the dog.
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah, just kind of crawl around on the floor and bark.
Yeah.
You know, that's about my speed.
We had a very sweet girl that played Nana in our production, so you would have been happy with her.
And you toured all over the country?
Yes, I did. I was one of those actors that I moved to New York City out of Syracuse. And I feel like there were always two different types of actors, the ones that would only accept jobs that were in New York because everyone's eyes were on Broadway, mine included. But I would take the job wherever. So I would, even though I was New York based, I would go to this regional theater, that regional theater. That's how I came down to Sarasota, because I just like to work and I liked to travel. So I got to work at theaters and then do some national tours and then an international tour of West Side Story. So it was great. I mean, I was always working because I always took jobs.
And you mentioned coming down here to do a show
Yes.
A mutual friend of ours, Barry Ayers,
Yes.
Neva Fruitful, that's how she ended up in Sarasota as well. So you came down here to do a show.
And Barry and I did numerous shows together.
Oh, okay.
Our paths crossed for a good number of years together.
How did you decide, yes, this is where I'd like to live?
There's something very special about Sarasota, and I think everybody finds it for their own reasons. I was very impressed by the amount of theater and arts that this city had. For a city, this city's grown since I came down. I came down in '99.
Yeah, but it's still small.
Yeah, it is very small when you hold it to other cities this size.
Yeah.
But it was like we had 5 professional equity theaters just downtown, not including the other ones around. Our own opera company, ballet company, symphony. I was like, this is incredible. So I was really in love with the fact that this city embraced the arts, and I loved the restaurants. I loved, the same reason everyone falls in love with Sarasota. I was coming down enough that I thought this might as well be my home base, and it became it. Yeah.
That's great. And then you shifted gears.
Yeah. Like every actor, I think, except for the ones that are still doing it, they hit a point where the periods between contracts get longer. So I started bartending, or I started doing odd jobs, and then I eventually was like, you know what, I better go back to school. So I took some time off. I went back to school to get a degree in video production.
And you went back to Syracuse?
Yes, not Syracuse University.
Okay.
I did end up going to Syracuse University for a semester.
Okay.
Because it cost just as much one semester there as it did my entire associate's degree.
Yeah.
But I went to the community college, and Onondaga Community College in Syracuse, and I was really glad. I loved my teachers because they were all still working in the industry. So like the teacher that was teaching us basically like video editing was also like freelancing, doing shooting games and stuff. So like they still had their hands very much. And as you know, like if you put your head down for 10 seconds in this industry, the technology has advanced beyond.
Holy cow.
So they were always on top of it. So I said I'm going to get this degree that I hope I don't use, and then I came right back and got right back into theater after that, and then eventually was like, I think I want to try that video thing.
And so you came back to Sarasota?
Back to Sarasota, started doing video marketing, like social media video marketing.
Right.
It was back in the days when you used to have to explain to businesses why they needed to be on Facebook, or why they needed to manage their own Facebook.
And this was what, early 2000s?
This is late 2000s. Like this is around 2009.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was still working as an actor for a few more years after I came down here.
Okay.
And then things started unfolding in a positive way for me to pursue this. I had a lot of great resources. That's another reason why I love Sarasota.
Yeah.
The Hub is a tech incubator that was downtown Sarasota that just really kind of set me on my next path, which everything from that point led to coming to ABC and what I'm doing now, whatever that is.
And somewhere along the way, you met your husband, Jerry.
Yes. I met him before he met me. I was taken with him before he even knew who I was. We joke because one of those little breaks between contracts, I was bartending. There was a gay bar called ID Martini that is no longer there now. I was not a good bartender, but...
What, you were drinking the inventory?
No, I just wasn't good. Like, I was good if you came in with a group of people, you're all ordering the same thing, and I got to keep making it. But then if you asked me to make it again in a week, I had no idea what it was. But I had charm at that point.
Honey, you still got charm.
Thanks. It's a little barrel aged now. But I served him bad wine. He's a wine drinker, and he wanted red wine. And I opened up the wine and I served it to him. And then I remember him saying, like, "Ooh, this wine isn't good." He doesn't even remember that exchange. But I like to say that I chased him until he caught me. Yes, but actually, he came to see me. I went back to do a show again. I was doing Sugar at the Golden Apple Dinner Theater, which is the musical version of Some Like It Hot. Remember the two guys in the movie?
Right.
I say John Lennon. Jack Lemmon and Tony Curtis are escaping the mob, so they dress as women that movie would totally be canceled now. But they hide away dressed as women in an all-girl band. So I played the Jack Lemmon role in the musical. And so Jerry first saw me when he finally came to see me in a show. He didn't even know he was seeing me. He just went with a friend who had an extra ticket. I was in drag, so he must have seen something through all of it. But yeah.
Was it you being in drag? That's what he saw?
Actually, you know what? To be honest, he said he thought it was really good, and he didn't really know me, but he was like, "Oh, that he's a good performer. Like he's very good at his craft, and he respects that about people, no matter what you do. If you're, if you put a lot of effort into it and you excel in it." So I think that's what won him over.
That's a sweet story.
Yeah.
And somebody once told me that you should be very wary of anybody who is attracted to drag queens and circus clowns. That there's something not right in
they're
that.
wrong. They're wrong, because I was a combo of both, I think, in that show. So yeah, and he's just been the best thing that ever has happened to me.
And how long have you guys been
We
together?
have been together for like 12 and a half years, married for 6.5.
Wow.
Yeah.
And there's another member of your family.
Oh yes, my dog Lulu.
Oh my! Oh my
Yes.
God! You have socks.
Yes. This dog is the dog that I've waited for my entire life. And I've had dogs and I've loved dogs, but this dog is my soulmate. I just love this dog. This dog, I just love her. I've been waiting my whole life for her, and well, you're a dog lover, so it's just no matter how many.
George is my. And I'm putting up a picture right now of George so everybody can see what a handsome fellow he is.
Yes.
Does Jerry ever get jealous of this love affair?
No, because luckily, and this is uncharacteristic of a Chihuahua, normally they just love one, they attach to one person and they hate everybody else. Well, she's attached to two, so she loves both of us. Okay. She's nearing the end of her years, which I've been preparing for, because, she's 15, which for a dog her size,
she's a senior.
Yeah, it'll be very tough. But my therapist has said you will respect her and let her go gracefully when it's time. So the joke in our house used to be, for a little levity, but the joke in our house used to be when she passes, because people would say to Jerry, like, "What are you gonna do when she goes? What are you gonna do with Joey?" And Jerry was like, "I'm gonna send him on a trip or a cruise or something." And now over time he's like, "I'm going to go on a cruise and leave him." Yeah.
Oh, we're going to put him away somewhere.
Exactly. I will sit Shiva like an old Jewish woman because I just adore this dog. But, there's nothing like that love.
It is. It's the unconditional love and the attachment. Mm-hmm. What's your guilty pleasure?
Ooh, martinis. I know. Martinis and
vodka
TikTok.
or gin?
Well, both, but not at the same time. But vodka. I'm generally a vodka guy.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's more.
Is that how you unwind at the end of the day?
Yes, that is how. Like Friday nights are typically, when I get home from work, Jerry gets home from work. It's time for martini. I'm trying to achieve that same unplugging without the martini. Because I've crossed over into that, I don't know if it's age or just whatever, where I can't have a martini and feel great the next day. So right. I've got to find a new vice.
Yeah. For me, it's I can't have 2 martinis and feel great the next day.
Mm-hmm. Well, two goes into 3 so easily.
Oh, it does. You said, well, you lose count.
Keep them coming. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's a Saturday morning. You don't have to work. You wake up, and what's ahead for you that day?
Okay. If it's like an ideal Saturday for me, I like to actually, on a Saturday, get up and work out, go to the gym. I love the endorphins. My mood is very much affected by working out, so I like to do it first thing in the morning on a Saturday, and then come home and have a cup of coffee, because that to me is the greatest cup of coffee at that point. And then I'll probably go to Detweiler's. This was a pandemic habit. I'll go to Detweiler's and get something to cook throughout the weekend for the week. And then hopefully we're doing something fun Saturday night. Jerry's going to be out in the yard the entire day if it's nice out.
You're brave to go to Detweiler's on a Saturday.
I know. My godmother was visiting. She comes down seasonally, and I was like, "Hey, you want to meet me at Detweiler?" She said, "What time?" I said, "Oh, probably about 11:30." She's like, "No way."
No way.
Yeah, because she's like, "I go if I'm not going right when they
Clark
open."
Road or University?
Clark Road.
Oh, okay, that's a little bigger.
Yeah.
University is
terrifying to me, although I go to it, but it's because
I'll go on like a Tuesday at 10 a.m. or
Smart.
something. That's the only way.
Yeah.
But I can do that because I can.
Yeah.
You're kind of busy Tuesdays at 10.
Yeah. Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah. So Saturday night is your night to go out and enjoy.
And you know, it used to be we got very spoiled during the peak of the pandemic. We both really cleaned like what the world did. We cleaned our social calendars because there just wasn't anything to do or that you could do.
Mm-hmm.
And so weekends at home were long and enjoyable, and you know, we really made our home. We were both lucky that we were still working throughout that, so we really made our home comfortable. So if you would have asked me before 2020, Saturday nights were like, oh, we're doing this, we have tickets to a show, we're meeting this friend for dinner or whatever. And now it really is like we might be in for the night, or we might go out for a meal, but then coming right home. So that's changed. And I would have thought that was sad 10 years ago about myself, and I totally get it. I love it. I've slowed way down.
What's something that people don't know about you?
Well, one is that I'm a nester. I've heard a lot of people say, like, I would have never thought you were a nester. And even when I was single, I required a certain amount of, like, I need to come home and recharge.
Are you a Cancer?
Virgo.
Oh, you're a Virgo.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. So I know what's in that pile. Well, you know, because you saw The Office. Another thing people don't know about me is that I'm anxious. I'm pretty anxious. And I just, I try to either channel it into something positive or find ways to just alleviate it.
Yeah. And that's where the exercise and working out comes.
Yeah.
Because you release that energy.
I'm a different person right before a workout and right after.
Really?
Yeah. And I do it because I want the health benefits, like the physical health benefits, or hopefully the aesthetic, if my metabolism catches up. But for me, it's a lot more the spiritual and mental benefits of it. Yeah, I'm hooked.
What are you grateful for?
I think the generosity and the grace that I am treated with and have been treated with. I'm very lucky because I feel the love from a lot of the people around me now, and I can look back on my life and look back, and even if I didn't see it at the time, just how loving and gracious people have been with me. There's something. I recognize that I'm lucky, and I'm recognized that I hate to say blessed because it's hashtag blessed.
You're fortunate.
I'm fortunate, yeah, and I'm very grateful for just the opportunities and the people that in my life and that are still in my life.
What's next for Joey Panek?
I don't know. But I feel like I'm on to something. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. Building a career from a lot of smaller pieces, I think, might be what's next.
You want to be my co-host?
Listen, I want to be a co-host. I want to go deliver the things. I want to go pick up the I like getting out of an office. I like coming back to an office. I like being out in the community. I like being in air conditioning. I miss performing on the stage right before, literally the week before the world closed down in March of 2020.
Yeah.
I had just finished. I went back on stage at Manatee Performing Arts Center and did Damn Yankees, and we closed the show, and I thought, I'm really enjoying this. I think I'm going to do another show. And then the world was like, no, you're not. So I'd like to get back to that at some point, because I missed that. That's another one of those releases for me, or it's just an expression. Yeah.
I think there's a lot more for us to cover. Would you like to come back some point in the future and we can chat more?
Sure.
All right.
God knows what socks I'll have on or what we'll talk about. Yes, that would be lovely.
What other stories to tell?
Yes.
I'm still learning to talk. So yeah.
Me too.
Maybe I could have a job in TV someday. I don't know. Thank you.
Thank you.
We really appreciate you watching. Appreciate the emails. info@suncoastpeople.com is the email address. If you like what we're doing, you can go to patreon.com/suncoastpeople. And there are different ways you can support the show. In the meantime, I'm Robert Tim, and thanks for watching.